Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give of all praise, Most High Yahweh, acknowledgement, Earthly Mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement, Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High bless this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Family, I'm going to show you some more proof that they all have known that the original people on these lands here in the Americas were so-called Black people. And the fact that they have been going out of their way to hide this information. But see, now that we're coming into the time of revelation, all this information is going to come out like a flood. And that's exactly what the Most High has us doing, giving us all this information, giving us more understanding, and it's not being refuted because it cannot be refuted. See, they keep talking about these. You're going to see how they talk about the original people that were here were so-called Black people. But they also want to say that, well, those Black people came and took over from the original white people that were already here before. See, they've always tried to make it seem like, today they just make it sound like color doesn't matter, color doesn't matter, color doesn't matter. But you're going to see in these books that they are busy trying to make it seem as if so-called white people were the first original people on these lands. And it's always like there was a white bearded God, a white bearded God. White people did this, white people built that. And that's what they're always trying to push. Now, when you understand Jeremiah 16 and 19, how their fathers are going to come to the Most High saying that their fathers have inherited lies, then pretty much all the stuff that they've been telling you is nothing but a bunch of lies. And if it's not true, then they should be able to show you some proof. But they're not going to show you any proof. They're not going to say anything because their lies only worked when we were under the curses and we were drinking the dregs and we were pretty much in a drunken state. Now that we're not in that state anymore, now the truth is becoming much more clear. Check this out. So right here, if you look at the bottom, pre-Columbian Mexican codices portraying light hair and beards. Okay? And they're always trying to push white people, okay? Let's see here. It is a well-known fact that the Catholic padres burned practically all of the numerous handwritten codices or books which fell into their hands during the period of the Spanish conquest of Mexico. Now, how are they going to get all these codices and books when they said that pretty much these people were barbaric and didn't even have any writing? You just have to think critically. They had mountains and mountains of books that they were supposedly burning. Yeah, I'm sure they burned some, but trust me, they kept many of them because these people were more advanced, and that's the whole point, that they had to say they burned everything so then they can make up their own narrative. But we know that that's not true. They had to keep the information because it was superior to the information that they had already had themselves. Just like they came over here and they got understanding about the astrology and astronomy, they got understanding about the calendar and everything else because they stole the information that was already present here. So it says, it is a well-known fact that the Catholic padres burned practically all of the numerous handwritten codices or books which fell into their hands during the period of the Spanish conquest of Mexico. A few codices, however, escaped destruction from them, according to Thor Herendal. Now, they got a lot of these codices in their museums over in England, and I'm sure over in Spain. So it's like, why do you guys have all of our writings over there? Because you guys want to control everything. You want to control the information. But see, with these ones that they do push, you're going to see that their whole narrative of the fact that we all came from Africa is all going to fall flat on its face. So right here, it says, we learned that the idea of light hair and beard did not enter America with Columbus. Thus, in the Tonalotmul of the Alban collection, a pre-Columbian codex preserved where? In the National Library in Paris, because they want to be able to control the information. So they're going to put these in their national libraries. Why would it be in the National Library in Paris? again, so that they can control everything. Now it says the Aboriginal Mexican authors have left us with multicolored hand paintings of former heroes and deities. So again, right here it says the Aboriginal Mexican authors have left us with multicolored hand paintings of former heroes and deities of some 275 human heads with their hair clearly drawn, with more than 100 appear with hair of a light brown color, the rest having black or very dark hair. Now, here's the picture so you can see what it looks like. These are pictures of pre Columbian people. And as you can see, there's all these so called black people. They just call them dark. They don't want to say black people because they don't want you making that distinction that, oh, these are like Negroes. No. They don't want to say they're just dark skin. They want to say white, but then others, they want to say dark skin color. Okay. But as you can see, many of these deities that they're referring to are so called black people. But see, and when they want to depict the natives, they always depict them a certain way. And all the black people supposedly all came from Africa. That was done here before. But these are showing you that in their own manuscripts and codices, they're showing you that there are many so-called black people already here. And these are why, and trust me, these are the ones that they show you. Imagine what the other ones look like that they're not showing you. So we go back here. So again, we learned that the idea of light hair and beard did not enter America with Columbus. Thus, in the Tenochtitlan of the Alban collection, a pre-Columbian codex preserved in the National Library in Paris, the Aboriginal Mexican authors have left us with multicolored hand paintings of former heroes and deities, of some 275 human heads with their hair clearly drawn. More than 100 appear with hair of light brown, and the rest having black or very dark hair. Now, again, they just want to talk about the hair. They're just trying to just skip over the fact that you've seen all these so-called black people, and they always love to try, and they've been trying to, say that these other natives are white. Well, hey, that was because it was very, very, it was a good idea to align yourself with so-called white people at this time because you would get those perks. So look here, reread in the works of Ixtlilxochitl about a 10th century king, okay, or nobleman named Topoltzin, who sometimes was called by the name of the Mexican god Quetzalcoatl, or its Maya counterpart, Kukulkan, because he was a priest or worshiper of the white bearded god. He was a white man with a long flowing beard who lived in the Valley of Mexico. Okay, now I'm back. So enemy peoples defeated him in battle and forced him from the country. Topoltzin and his Toltec associates united with the Mayas and under the leadership of Topoltzin built the new Maya Empire. The principal cities that this bearded white man from Mexico is said to have built were New Chichen Itza and Mayapan. The principal temple erected in Chichen Itza, sometimes called El Castillo, was named Kukulkan in honor of the 10th century builder and white ruler. See how they're always trying to put white people, white people, white people. But they always say that it doesn't matter what color people are. But in these books, that's what they're trying to push this whole time. Okay. His likeness was carved on one of the door jambs of the temple, a photograph of which is reproduced here. It takes no more than a casual glance at this bearded white Kukulkan to convince one that he was not a beardless Indian, but a white man. See, I guess only white people can get beards. I guess black people so far, I guess they can't grow beards either, right? Well, maybe not the Africans, they're the Hamites, but see, we're not African and we're not Hamites. Okay? We are the Israelites and we're the ones with these beards. Just like I showed you guys in the video yesterday, showing you guys in the same place, they're showing you that the Hebrews, the Hebraic man that was there, had an afro and a beard. Okay? But they want to keep pushing the whole white bearded white people with beards. Okay, white Kukulkans to convince one that he was not a beardless Indian, but a white man. Observe the profile line of his nose and the heavy growth of the beard. The feathers of the Quetzal bird protrude gracefully from his headdress, indicating that he was a priest of the bearded white god or Jesus Christ, symbolized by the Quetzal. And like I said, they're the ones that are always pushing this whole black-white narrative. Okay? So we got these pictures right here, though. So you got these people right here, and you got all these so-called black people that were here pre-Columbian. And here's the one they're talking about right now. I guess supposedly this is supposed to be the white bearded god right here with the big, huge nose, the big, full lips, and the beard. But hey, they got to push that whole narrative. The fact that they think they want to push the fact that they were the original people here. But they're going to tell you more right now. Check this out. Now, talking about years 1554 to 1558 AD, mentioned the fact that there were white men among the old world inhabitants, whence came their ancestors. Okay, to quote, there were then in great numbers the black men and the white men of many classes, men of many tongues, that it was wonderful to hear them. Now, see, now they let you know that there were so-called black people and white people already here before Columbus. They're already letting you know this. The founder of the ancient Maya city of Mutul in Yucatan was named Zac Mutul, his name meaning white man. Again, white can also mean like pure. It doesn't necessarily just mean the color of your skin. And we were considered white also because it doesn't mean just white skin. Okay, but that's okay. But they can keep trying to like devolve and everything and make it so that they can put the white man that was here before. It doesn't matter, right? Since the city was founded centuries before the coming of Europeans, it is apparent that the name was descriptive of the man. Zak is the Maya word for white. Amazing enough, the Hebrew word white is identical to the Maya Zak. Okay, Edward Herbert Thompson, the American who purchased Chichen Itza, I gotta love that. So someone gets to purchase this place, an American, right? And dredged the sacred well, gives an account of a white race of people living with a dark-skinned race in Yucatan. His statements are in harmony with the mural paintings in Chichen Itza. Thompson points out that the legends of the primitive races of Yucatan and portions of Mexico tell of a fair-skinned race of men who became the rulers and the leaders of the dark-skinned Aborigines. So they let you know right here that the original people of these lands were so-called black people. But then they want to, just like they've done now when they want to make it seem like they came in and they helped the so-called natives or the so-called Aboriginal or the black people who were savages. They tried to help us become better people, to be, more stately. But you can see now, look at their examples right now. They want to make it sound like they've done so much for everyone and that they brought, a sense of culture to us. But look at them now and that we were ignorant. The Aborigines, these dark-skinned Aborigines were ignorant people and that they came and they civilized us. Look at our society now. You guys have been in charge. Do we look more civilized now? Do we look like we're more, we're not ignorant anymore, or are we more ignorant now than ever before? Now, check this out. He also wrote, the dark skinned race took the light skinned people to be their guides and teachers. Now, how many people do you see that are so called white people that are teaching right now? How many of them are bringing out any of this truth that you see right now? So, the fact that you're even saying these kinds of things right now doesn't fit the narrative and doesn't fit reality that we're seeing right now. Because if these people were so smart and they knew so much and that we were so ignorant, then things would not be in the state that they are in today. So that just shows you that all these writings, all these things right here are false. Because if they knew so much, how do they not know who the true people are? How do they keep pushing the fact that those are the people when they fit none of the prophecies in the Bible? How is it that if you guys know so much that your breakdown of our book, our Bible, the Bible, our book, your breakdown is so horrible and so off? So if you can't even get the true people correct, if you still are believing that Ish is the people and they fit no prophecies whatsoever, then how can you portray yourself as being so much, above board everyone else? So much more, you're so much more intelligent than everyone else. How's that even possible? So again, the dark-skinned race took the light-skinned people to be their guides and teachers. And all went well with them under the sage counsels and wise teachings of the Chanas. The indigenous race was raised from an almost brutish, savage condition to the status of thinking people. You really think that so-called white people, these Europeans or whatever else, have done that right now? Is that the state that we are in a society right now? I would venture to say that we are in the complete opposite. The people who have portrayed themselves as being brutish and savage have not been us so-called black people, but it's been the so-called Europeans that have pretty much came in, raped, robbed, murdered, and stolen everything, hidden all of the books, hidden all of the information, and they do all that all the way until today. What are they doing now? Banning books, burning books, telling you can't read this, you can't read that. You got the church saying 66 books only. That's all that God said. Hey, you can only read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Only, four of the apostles. The other eight, hey man, you can't read those because you're too stupid to read those. You're gonna read those and you're going to confuse yourself because it's just too much for you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like they want to sit here and act as if they brought culture to this world. But as you can tell, the example right now is a complete opposite. And you can actually see how people run from information. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it. They don't have to process it. They don't want to have to change because it's not in them. So, hey, man, this is your world. This is the world that you have created by putting the Israelites at the bottom. This is the world that you created. You've had carte blanche to do whatever you wanted to do. No one has stopped you. The Most High has allowed you to, make decisions, do what you want, but now you're going to have to pay the price. So when you read things like this, and it talks about how primitive the so-called black people were, and how white people raised us up out of ignorance, if that was true, then you would be able to see that today, because so-called white people have been the ones in charge of everything. And if you really think that we are progressing as a society, you can keep lying to yourself. It's so bad now that so-called white Christians want to be raptured away from the mess that they made. So if you guys were so smart and you did such a great job with society, why is everyone looking for a rapture? Shouldn't you guys be in your heaven right now? Because you've been able to make all the decisions. Us so-called lowly black people haven't made any decisions. We've been at the bottom. You've been able to run society however you want. So this is all on your time. This is all on your dime. And when the Most High cracks the skies open, you're going to be held accountable. So read that part again. The dark-skinned race took the light-skinned people to be their guides and teachers, and all went well with them under the sage counsels and wise teachings of the Chanis. The indigenous race was raised from an almost brutish, savage condition to the status of thinking people. And it's been the absolute opposite. We've been taken from being a thinking people to now being in a savage condition. But that's all at the hands of the so-called Europeans. That was the hands of the Most High giving us the dregs to drink. But now he's given them to you. So now you are devolving. You other nations and people who have made covenants with you are now devolving into a brutish, savage condition. Now, again, you want to continue talking about how they made, they just civilized us in the next section. So farther on in his book, Thompson quotes the following from a document written by the natives of Yucatan, the Mayas, to quote, in ancient times, says Akinchan, my father, the Chanis of Nanual, the people of the serpent, found the dark-skinned savage, Mayas living in damp caves and forests, eating roots and crawling things, more like beasts than men. Then my fathers, the light-skinned wise men, took the dark forest people and bound them with fetters of fear and love, raised them to the light, a light of day. Even the Chanas, the wise men of Nanwal, led the Mayas in their great advances. So like I said, again, the so-called white men want to believe that they're the ones that have done all this thing and advanced us as a society, but they've had the last 400 plus years to run society, and where are those fruits? Where are the fruits of all the things you've been teaching and bringing us so-called black people out of ignorance? These are the things that you're going to have to answer for to the Most High. This is the testimony that you're going to have and that you're going to have to explain. And the people who have made covenants with you, they're going to have to explain it as well. So if you think you've done a great job, cool. Don't, stop praying for a rapture. Stop asking for a rapture, because the rapture is not coming. You will have to stand in front of the Most High and make an account. All praise, Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement, earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.